Hello and welcome to the Rogscast, episode 2. I'm here today with Felix.
Hello.
And Kian.
Hi, guys.
Today we're going to be discussing the happenings of the first match day of Euro 2020 held in 2021. Who's been playing well, who maybe has not lived up to the pre-tournament expectations, what players have impressed, who's maybe going to be some team that you're looking out for now because of their display. Anyway, we'll start off. First game of the tournament, a cracker in Rome, Italy 3, Turkey 0. Felix, give me your thoughts on that game.
Well, so it was between a couple of so-called, some people would call both of them dark horses.
Yeah.
Because Italy, they're quite a strong team. Maybe they weren't completely fancied, but they are a strong team. Turkey, well, we know all about Turkey, don't we? A lot of people have gone on about them. And Italy they schooled them a bit, but yeah. I don't think you can judge Turkey too harshly because they don't necessarily have many stars, but they are one of the best cohesive units at the tournament.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think although Turkey are bottom of the group after round one, it'd be a bit wrong to write them off almost because that's a hard game out of the way.
Sorry, yeah. Well, I think it's really impressive how Roberto Mancini has got players who maybe he's got his whole unit working. I mean, players like Spinazzola, Locatelli putting absolutely beautiful performances. I mean, Insigne was great, Immobile was good, Berardi was good. The defense was solid. I mean, Chiellini, they were 3-0 up and he's still putting that cracking challenge in the last minute. Kian, what did you make of the game? Italy maybe favourites for the tournament?
I wouldn't have. See, again, I did mention them as my dark horses. Maybe not. I don't think they're favourites for the tournament because I think a team with a bit more quality and experience at the top level, like a France or a Belgium or even in England, can break them down.
Austria.
I mean, they've not got a bad attack. Like I think teams like that will be able to break Italy down, but going into the earlier rounds, such as teams like Turkey.
Yeah, Turkey.
They might struggle a bit more because they're not used to the top level.
Yeah, I hear
They've got quality, but they're not used to trying to break down maybe that top defenses like Italy and the standard.
Yeah, so obviously the Italians came out hot, and then the next day started Wales Switzerland. It 1-1 draw. It was a good game of football. I thought it was quite an interesting one. Switzerland maybe I thought would win that game, but after dominating, Brill and Bolo had a phenomenal performance. It came down to an equaliser from the guy whose name I forget. Someone remind me the Welsh striker's name. Kiefer Moore. Unbelievable. I mean, I thought Dan James was great on the left-hand side. Maybe Ole needs to deploy him there more next season. Felix, you're a Man United fan. Do you want to see Dan James deployed on the left-hand side maybe? Or obviously it's difficult because Marcus Rashford takes that spot. Surely off the bench he'd be an option.
He's been linked heavily to Leeds. I think he almost joined Leeds instead of us.
I believe
he was in the signing room too. He was ready.
Yeah, he's maybe a squad player at United, maybe, but he still gets way more minutes than I'd like ahead of a player like Diallo or even Greenwood this season. He's had a couple of appearances over Greenwood, which I'd question.
I'll tell you what.
Felix, what do you think of United players performing at international level better than club level consistently?
I think we'll go on to France a bit later. We'll go on to France a bit later.
Dan James.
Dan James. We'll talk about Dan James to start. What do you think? Do you think it's because he's got more of a pivotal role in that team, or do you think he just wants to almost use it as a clean slate to prove himself? Or
it could be an expectations thing. I don't really know.
The pressure on Man United players is
Buckles under pressure.
80, yeah. Okay, well, I don't know why we're really discussing Wales when I thought that the player of the game by quite a long distance was Brill, Donald and Bolo. I thought it was absolutely incredible, put in a great shift. He was a handful, could have maybe had another goal, but he got his goal in the end, forced the corner, which got the goal. And I think he'd be a menace against many defences. Could cause some problems in future games in the tournament. So, yeah, Group A. What do we think going down? So obviously we've got Wales, Turkey tomorrow, and then I believe Italy are playing Switzerland as well, right?
Turkey are a hard one to call because I don't know whether the hype is. Obviously, they've got some talented players, but it could be even exacerbated by because the social media presence of Turkish people is ridiculous. Sorloth the other week. How many comments did he have on his post? 3 million or something?
3 million, 3.5.
Ridiculous.
They have a ridiculous representation on social media, which maybe could influence how they're rated.
Yeah, I saw Tom Garrett claiming they were going to go quite far, and obviously they didn't live up to his expectations. So Wales versus Turkey. Let's give a match prediction. You go first, Kian. What do you think the score is going to be?
Well, I'm going to start by saying I think we can't forget that although Turkey performed terribly, they have got their hardest game in the group out of the way. I don't think that's questionable.
That's true.
I think maybe they might pick a bit of momentum up. I think they are a stronger team than Wales. I think it's going to be a solid 2-0 win.
2-0
they're
win.
going to start finding their feet a bit. It'll be a scrappy win, I think. But I think they'll pull away towards the end of the game and get a second goal.
I'd find myself probably siding with you there. I think that it's going to be 2-1 to Switzerland. Maybe Mbolo getting back on the score sheet. I think Gareth Bale will have a part to play in tomorrow's game. He wasn't great in the first game. It's not Switzerland, Turkey. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've had a nightmare there. Well, I'll get on to Switzerland, but Turkey, I still think 2-1 Turkey. Instead of Mbolo, why not give it to if I'm being realistic, I think Burak Yilmaz. He had a couple of times where he kind of went through against Italy, didn't quite finish his dinner, but at the end of the day, I think against Wales, he'll get more chances and maybe he'll take them, especially if Chanaloglu can pick that Welsh defence. So, 2-1. I still think Bale could have an impact on that game. But, Felix, Wales, Turkey, bring us home for that one.
I can see it being a very scrappy game. Maybe a 1-0 or something to Turkey off a set piece, but I could be proved wrong, but I don't think it's a game that will set the world alight.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, and then moving on to a game which could be a little bit more interesting, which I accidentally just alluded to, Switzerland, Italy. I'll go first because you kind of heard what I think. I think Mbolo's going to have a good game, but obviously I don't think Switzerland are going to win the game. I think Italy are going to win that 3-1. I think that the way they play is beautiful under Mancini. The way they're passing football, the way their system works defensively, the fact that you've got Spinazzola coming up one side, Berardi up the other, and they're just causing problems. Spinazzola happy to get forward. He's right-footed, but when he cuts inside, he's dangerous. You've got Immobile. I think they're just too strong for Switzerland in the end. As I said, Mbolo maybe with a consolation goal, but Italy, their firepower will be too much in the end. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of some of the players like Federico Chiesa, who didn't get as many minutes, came off the bench against Turkey. How about you, Kean?
I'm going to go bold. I'm going to go for 2-2.
2-2, you think Switzerland can get a point?
Yeah, I think they can. I think they got the quality there to maybe pull a point out of it. I think they will go behind. I think it may even go 2-0 to Italy, but I think they might switch off a little bit. And they know they've got the 3 points already. They're favourites in the group. They might switch off. I think maybe a 2-2.
I could blow it wide open. And Felix, finishing off Group A.
I can't agree with that. I think Italy as a unit, they're so solid defensively. Like you saw, like they were 3-0 up, and even in the 89th, 90th minute, whatever it was, who was it? Chiellini racing back to make a last-ditch sliding challenge. They've just got that desire. I don't see them.
There.
I really don't see them because I think it'll just be a solid 2-0 win for them.
Okay,
I did say I was going bold. Felix.
We shall see. Anyway, the next game which happened was quite a tragic one, honestly. It was Denmark versus Finland, and obviously the key talking point isn't the football. It was Christian Eriksen. Yeah. Obviously horrible to see what happened. Obviously, we now know that he did suffer a cardiac arrest, a heart attack. His heart stopped on the pitch, but luckily, thanks to the speed of the referee, Anthony Taylor, Kier, and the medical staff, luckily Christian Eriksen's still with us. It's still unknown what caused it, but as a podcast as a whole, I think we can all send our love and thoughts to Christian Eriksen and his family because it's horrible and it shouldn't happen to anyone. But I'm glad to see that he's at least awake, he's coherent, he's in hospital, and he's supporting his boys in Denmark. But getting onto the football, honestly, it really was eclipsed by that event. So I didn't really catch much of it. Finland won 1-0. Yeah. And I think it'll be tough for Denmark to emotionally and even play without one of their key players pull through in the group. We'll talk about predictions in a second. But yeah, that was a horrible game for everyone watching. And I'd rather we just moved on to Belgium versus Russia because that was really sad.
There's not much more to say on it, really.
Yeah. So get well soon, Eriksen. Hope somehow you can get back to something, mate. If it's not football, I hope he still flourishes with the rest of his life. Anyway, Belgium, Russia. So obviously pre-tournament, I predicted that Romelu Lukaku would break the record for most goals in the tournament. I said 8 goals, 2 down, 6 to go, boys. Romelu Lukaku, he got the first one. It was scrappy, but he scores. The second goal was Munier. It's Munier. What can you say? It's a right back coming in, banging it. And then Lukaku's last goal, right foot, decent finish. What did we make of the game, guys?
How they went. So their first goal came quite early, didn't it? And I'm just saying they went 2 up midway through first half.
Yeah,
I'm not-
Muniz goal was in the 34th minute.
I'm not sure if I'm misremembering it, but I just felt like a bit of a non-event for a lot of the second half. Obviously, they tied it up towards the end with the third, but yeah, I don't remember anything particularly memorable from large portions of the second half.
Obviously, it was.
I don't know if I'm missing something, but
it was bad to see Castagna go off with a head injury. That wasn't nice to see at all. Hopefully, he's all right. I've not seen much about him, but I mean, yeah, it was quite a cool victory for Russia. Not Russia, for Belgium. Russia didn't really pose much of a threat. They had a couple chances, but that is a Belgium side without Eden Hazard starting, without Kevin De Bruyne. Maybe they play better without them. You could argue that, but I think that Belgium were great. Kian, did you get to watch that game?
Yeah, and I think it was a real statement going into the competition from Belgium. I think a lot of people have written them off winning it, I feel like. But the way they didn't even come out of second gear, really, and they didn't have their complete strongest side out.
Yeah.
And they just brushed them over. There was no real competition in the game. And Russia aren't the strongest side, but they're also, you don't want to write them off all the time. They're not pushovers. So I think it was quite comprehensive. It shows they're here to win, in my opinion. It's given me a different outlook on them in the tournament, that's for sure.
Okay.
I did feel that Russia, on a significant number of occasions, got into all right positions, and then just the final ball was appalling on so many times, honestly.
Yeah.
They could have made a game of it if they just even put one or two, or like even if just like they just put a couple of decent crosses in, but yeah, wasn't really.
Moving on from that, tomorrow, it's not tomorrow. It is tomorrow, actually. Yeah, Russia versus Finland. A bit of a dead game, but important still for the group. What do we think is going to happen there? I can only see it going. I think Russia are going to take points off of Finland. I think that they will get a few crosses into Artem Zhuba, maybe a bit of a header from Artem, and they'll win the game. Maybe I'm going to say 2-0 to Russia. Finland could be the surprise package if they get a point. I think they pretty much guaranteed themselves going through their group. What do you guys think on that one? Not the greatest game. Kian, go first.
Yeah, I mean,
I've not really thought. Obviously, I've not really thought about this game too much.
Yeah, understandable.
If at all, really. But off first glances of the two games, Finland, obviously, with everything going on, it's hard to really judge how they're going to come into the tournament. But it was an underwhelming performance. I feel like they were maybe the underdogs slightly going into the game anyway.
Yeah.
I feel Russia are going to have a point to prove. And looking back into even the last Euros, you can't write them off. They're always
and
there
the World
in
Cup
your face.
as well.
Yeah, they fight for wins. And I think the team against Finland, similar sort of standard, I think they will come out on top. I'm going to go for a 1-0. I think it's going to be quite a late winner. I feel like, but they will be on top for most of the game. They just lack that finishing touch.
Felix, do you agree, or do you think Finland have got what it takes?
Yeah, I don't. It won't be the most inspiring performance from either team, because, I mean, in spite of the circumstance on Saturday, Denmark were still on top a lot of the time.
Yeah,
I think I wouldn't say Finland. I didn't catch the second half, but it didn't look like they necessarily. It didn't look like the result reflected how the game went. So I can see maybe just a moment of magic from Golovin or something, just getting a 1-0 win for the Russians.
Yeah, okay.
So am I right in saying Denmark missed the penalty?
Yes, it was saved by Radetsky, of course.
Probably half the world regretting putting Radetsky
so that game, that game could have easily went the other way then.
Yeah, it could have. Okay, well, obviously the better and more important game, Denmark versus Belgium. I think that Belgium might send Denmark towards going out, to be honest with you, because I think that they've just got too much. I think that Lukaku's going to bag minimum one again. I think as I said, continue his hot streak as he started the tournament. I think that maybe an inclusion of Eden Hazard in the starting lineup this time around could just make them pretty unstoppable, especially against a team like Denmark, who dejected, their spirits are down, understandably. I'm not faulting them for that, but obviously it's not the greatest circumstances to be playing a major tournament. But maybe they'll be inspired by Christian and they'll go out there and they'll put in a good display. But I don't see it happening. I think Belgium are going to win that game 3-0. Again, I think that Denmark don't really have what it takes to stand up to the Red Devils. What about you, Keane?
See, I would say I'm going to go the other way. I think Belgium will win, but like you previously mentioned, I think they're going to take a bit of inspiration from the way Christian Eriksen has pulled through this and maybe mirror that in their performance. I think they're really going to push for it. I think they'll be able to take, yes, they probably lost their best player, but equally they've kept their best player in the sense he's come through it the right way. I
still
think that's
rally
more
around
important
him.
to them. I feel like it'll really rally them on. I think they'll do it for him kind of thing. I can't see them getting a win, but you can't write this football. The ball goes around. You can't write them off at all, especially if they come in with the right attitudes. It's anyone's game. But overall, I am still going to go with a 2-0 win to Belgium.
Felix, do you agree?
Is KDB back? Do we know?
I'm not sure. I don't think he'll be starting, but I mean, you never know.
I think Denmark will put in a pretty resilient performance, shall we say? For
100%.
the reasons already said, it'll be quite tight. I think maybe KDB, if he were playing, could maybe make it a bit more comfortable. But I'd say maybe a 2-0 or maybe a 2-1 for Belgium. But
cool.
Yeah, I don't see it being a kind of. I don't see them coasting to victory at all.
Okay. So the next group is Group C. And if I'm not mistaken, that started off with Austria versus North Macedonia. I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch all of this game, but I watched enough of it, and I thought my dark horse is Austria. Look, they put up a pretty good showing. Lena at the back post scored a lovely volley.
North Macedonia.
It is North Macedonia, but you can't count them out. They did score.
They
Obviously,
qualified.
Austria were good. They looked good. Arnautovic obviously scoring late with his controversial celebration. Don't know what that was about, but obviously not great. I don't want to speculate because I don't want to spread false rumors or whatever. But yeah, I thought Austria were good. I think that it shows that they'll probably they'll probably make out the group minimum third place team now. They have 3 points. But yeah, it was a good game. What did you guys think of that one? I'm sure maybe you weren't tuned in because of celebrating the England game.
Yeah, I didn't really catch it. North Macedonia, they've come into this tournament with practically no weight on their shoulders at all, because they're not here to make up the numbers. I mean, they beat Germany in a friendly a couple months ago, didn't they?
Yes,
but, strong Germany team.
I don't think there's a lot of expectation attached to them. So, I mean, it looked for what 20 minutes like they could get something out of the game. Unlocked in the end, but yeah, I think against an Austria side that maybe has underperformed in the past, they did themselves proud.
Yeah, Kian, same.
I'm gonna go same. I feel like it's such an achievement for them just to be here. No one's gonna. Do you know what I mean? They're not gonna get written. They're written off, really, aren't they? They're not gonna get bantered or anything for going out there. They should be proud to be there. Pandev obviously getting a goal.
Yeah.
I think they can take positives from it. Austria aren't a weak side at all. They're not favourites by any means, but it's not an easy game to go in with.
Well, I mean, the other game in that group, on the other hand, I did watch, and what a cracker it was. Netherlands versus Ukraine, 3-2. I won't start this time. I'll give it over to Key, and he can give his thoughts first. Netherlands, Ukraine, what game of football it was?
Well, the Netherlands looked strong at the start.
They did.
Until that Yarmolenko goal, they were looking very strong. And I feel like for 10, 15 minutes, I think they got a shock. They weren't expecting that. And then obviously when the second went in, they had to rally themselves. And I think they showed real character.
Yeah,
real. Sure. I might have said it last week, I might not have, but I feel like Ukraine, I think I might have actually said it privately. I feel like Ukraine are getting written off a bit when they shouldn't be. They're not as weak as people make out.
Yeah.
And Netherlands in the end did struggle to get past them. Like they look strong. They're a strong team. And if anything, it's only raised my standards in the way I think about Netherlands because of the character they showed to get that last goal and push on.
Yeah, obviously.
Got to say.
Yeah, the beautiful header by Denzel Dumfries, a player I've admired for a few years.
He had a cracking game as well.
Yeah, he really did. He could have scored a couple. Felix, what did you think you make of that game?
I mean, yeah, you've just alluded to it. It was a great game, but I mean, even though all the goals were in the second half, weren't they? I think it's a Euros record or something for the amount of goals scored in the second half.
Yeah, the first goal was Wijnaldum in the 52nd minute.
The game could have been. I think Netherlands could have put the game to bed. Obviously, it's a good comeback, and Netherlands did get there in the end. But as much as I take that point about their character, I would also say that I think I said it last time out. I don't rate the Netherlands particularly highly just because they do have that weak backline, especially without Van Dijk.
Yeah.
I think they've got quite a soft centre, and they did get the end, fair enough. But I think there are sterner tests out there. At what point they will potentially crack a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I'll just finish up on that game. I thought it was a cracker. Wijnaldum's goal was a nice finish. Weghorst, it was an interesting goal. Yarmolenko then pulled it back with an absolute screamer, by the way. That was a fantastic goal. The keeper had no chance. Then Yaremchuk's goal was quite a well done goal as well. Then Dumfries finished off. Loved Denzel Dumfries. But
You've got to feel a bit sorry for Yarmolenko. 24 hours later, or however long hours late, what was it? The next day or maybe 2 days later, his goal's already been outshone.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's what we're moving on to, because we're gonna leave England to the end.
What can I just say? One thing.
Disappointed a bit, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
I can tell you can really see, even at international, the Netherlands were really missing Van Dijk that game.
Yeah.
Bit of leadership at the back, and that might be a bit biased, but equally, is it when he's at that level? I think we could see it with Liverpool, going to a bit of club football. You can see it with Liverpool. It's the same thing with the Netherlands. He's just such a character in that middle that I think if we have him in the team, we're looking at a different side, and we're looking at different predictions completely. I feel like, especially after that first game.
Yeah. Well, I was about to move on too hastily because we need to do our predictions for the Group C games. Thursday, 2 p.m, Bucharest, Ukraine, North Macedonia. I only see this going one way. I'm going to say 4-0 to Ukraine. I think they're going to blow North Macedonia out of the water. I think they showed that they can score goals against Netherlands, and I think that against a much weaker side. I know Netherlands' defense isn't great. I think Ukraine will dominate that game of football, and I think they're going to come up with a massive win, which will surprise everyone.
I wouldn't be particularly surprised, but I think it'll be relatively comfortable for Ukraine. Malinovsky pulling the strings, just a nice 2-0, 3-0 kind of win for them. I'm not going to say I don't think they'll go out of second gear, but they won't have to put 110% in, let's say.
Kian?
I think this is the perfect game for Ukraine to come off a loss to. It's a great way to prove a point, prove that they deserve to be going into the knockout stages. So I do agree with you, but I'm going to one up and go with a 5-0 win for Ukraine. I think they're just absolutely going to really put themselves back in the running. I think they deserve to be in the round of 16. I think the team they've got, the way they played against Netherlands, they've shown that they deserve it.
Yaremchuk bagging 2-3 goals, maybe putting himself in the golden boot race. You never know. Okay, and then obviously
North Macedonia gets sniffed.
The more important game, or at least the more interesting game, in my opinion, in Amsterdam, the Johan Cruyff Arena, Austria, Netherlands. You two can go first. I'll end with my prediction.
Well,
I think this is going to be a close game. I mean, who knows? Netherlands might decide to finish their dinner this time before it gets a bit sticky towards the end. But I'll say maybe a 2-0 to the Netherlands.
Nice. Okay, Kian?
I'm going to go 2-1 to the Netherlands. Things that are popping up in my head, just like watching them struggle against Scotland, and then I know we're going on to Scotland's game, but then Scotland performing the way they did. It's like Austria are 3-4 times the team Scotland are. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really think I think they'll pull through. I think they've got the quality to pull through. But I could see it literally going 2-1 Netherlands or 2-1 Austria. I can see it going either way, but I'm going to go with 2-1 Netherlands.
Okay, well,
I don't see Netherlands making it particularly far.
You just alluded to it. I'm saying it straight up: 3-1 Austria. I think that they're going to. It's going to be one of the shocks of the tournament. I think they're going to come out there and play the Netherlands off the park. I really like Austria as a unit. I think Arnautovic, as long as he's not been suspended or whatever, is going to get on the score sheet. David Alaba is going to pull the string, and we're going to see a result which is going to not shock people, but at least drill it into their mind that Austria are quite a force to be reckoned with. And I think that going forward, that obviously will put them through their group, and then hopefully they face Italy, and we can see my little prediction, because I think their game against Ukraine is going to be quite important next week. But anyway, that's Group C done. On to Group D. England's group. We're going to leave England till the end of the video, but of course we have to talk about Scotland. Unlucky boys, didn't quite have what it takes to beat the Czech Republic. Patrick Schick, 2 goals. First one, bit of a saucy finish. Second one, well, I mean, that's goal of the tournament. It has to be.
Must make them sick to their stomach.
It must make them sick to their stomach. I nearly shit.
Scotland are absolutely
That
shit.
makes no sense. Yeah, honestly though, that doesn't make any sense. By the way,
I mean, they outplayed them. To be fair,
it's irrelevant because I mean, to be fair, you have to give it to Scotland. They were missing one of their key players in Kieran Tierney. I'm not going to say best, but he's definitely one of their better players. He is quite pivotal to their system. And I think again, if he's back against England, he'll definitely cause us some problems. I know all about Kieran Tierney. That's my man right there. Not to sound too obsessed with the guy, but he's such a great player. He's such a great professional. The effort he puts in, and I think he'll be a big problem for England. And I think if he's back, and I think he'll be a big asset to Scotland if they need to get a result in their last game, maybe against Croatia. But we're talking about this game. Patrick Schick really made a name for himself. He scored one of the best goals ever at the Euros. What did you make of the game, Kian?
I personally feel quite sorry for the 10 outfield players in the Scotland starting lineup because they did play well. Let's not get it twisted. They played well, right? You had Robertson putting ball after ball after ball in, just like he does at Liverpool.
Yep.
Even worse finishing touch than Firmino. That's saying something.
Or
How
Mane
many chances they had? Yeah, well, yeah. Let's not talk about that when you employ Dan James, buddy, all right? But anyway, literally, Robertson put ball after ball after ball in. And I think if you had Tierney playing on the right, doing the same on the other side, it could have easily went the other way. The main culprit that game was the keeper. And yes, he was at fault for the second goal. His placement for the first goal isn't talked about enough. He should have been in a better place for that. He could have saved that, I feel like. It was a good finish, but it's just placement. Why is he's nowhere near his line on either of the goals? He's way off his line on the first one. Not cutting down the angles enough. I was watching the game and I thought Scotland are actually do you know what I mean? They're showing something here. And then after that first goal, it deflated a bit. Literally, what was it? As soon as they went into half time, right, we need to score next. And then as soon as the second half comes, their keeper's near the bloody halfway line. And shit, let's not get it wrong. It was an easy goal for him, really. It was an open goal. If he could just get it on target, it was a goal.
I mean it's not exactly like work getting on target. And yeah, it's a great finish. But I mean, even before that goal was, I think, the 52nd minute or something. But even just straight out of the blocks, 46th, 47th minute. I mean, Scotland were coming out. They were misplacing passes, they were letting Czech Republic in nearly in on goal within 1 or 2 minutes. I mean, a similar thing happened at the other end, start of the game. Scotland looked very strong early on, threatened a bit, but yeah, it's just at the end of the day, if you're in the box and you can't finish your dinner, then that's your own problem, and you're going to get knocked out.
Can I just say, in my opinion, that is Scotland out of the Euros. That was their chance.
Their easiest game of the group on paper.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that was their chance to get 3 points to even try and get through in third place. I don't think they're going to pick up any points now.
Yeah, well,
unless a shock draw.
We'll get onto the Group D predictions a bit later because we're going to talk about England at the end of the video. But after Group D, Group E, and what I thought would possibly the first real shock of the tournament, Slovakia beating Poland. Interesting game of football. Obviously, Lack, I believe his name is. Let's not get this wrong. Forced the first goal. I know it was given as a Wojciech Szczesny own goal, but at the end of the day, it was a beautiful football, lovely little nutmeg, drilled it, bounced back off of Szczesny. Poland responded very well in the second half with a very quick goal from Lenetti, but Milan Skriniar's beautiful touch and volley ended up winning the game. Obviously, Slovakia aided by Krakowiak's double yellow and a red card. But I thought it was a very good game of football, and honestly, I was quite impressed by Slovakia. I wasn't expecting much from them, and it looks like with 3 points, they might easily get out their group now. So, what did you guys make of that game?
You've got to almost feel sorry for Szczesny, I think, because I think during the game the commentators were alluding to it a bit. Szczesny he's had a bit of a troubled history at major tournaments, hasn't he? I think
games, yeah.
He was injured at the World Cup. I can't remember what it was in 2016, but he's not had a brilliant history. And to be fair, it's just one of those own goals that are unlucky for keepers.
Yeah,
because
can't do anything about
I mean,
it.
I'm not exactly an expert. I'm not a goalkeeping coach, but that just coming back off the post, just hitting his back and just going straight back in, that's just bad luck.
Yeah, but you can't
But
fault the play by lack.
yeah, I mean,
Beautiful.
they deserved it. Slovakia did.
Yeah.
Kept Lewandowski quiet. I mean, I don't think it should really be that shouldn't really be discredit Lewandowski, because he's not surrounded by stars like he is and I'm not saying he needs those stars, but there's a
someone.
limit to what a player can do by himself.
Yeah. Kian?
Didn't watch the game, but what I will say is the fact they kept Lewandowski quiet, like a team like Slovakia has, who were underdogs in that game, makes me a bit worried for him in this tournament.
Poland?
Personally. Yeah. Well, for
Yeah.
Lewandowski as a player as well, I think if you look at the rest of his group, that was his game to get his goals in and warm up, and I just don't think he pulled through with it, really. I've not got much to say on it. Obviously, I didn't watch it,
Yeah.
but the result speaks for itself.
I do feel a bit sorry for Lewandowski, because
He was poor
he
at
has
World
had
Cup.
he's had an unbelievable season at club level, breaking the Bundesliga record. Somehow didn't get Player of the Year, but international tournaments are always so important in deciding Ballon d'Or. And so, I mean, you can debate all you want about whether they're given too much weight, but at the end of the day,
Look at
the
Modric
fact that
Croatia.
doesn't look like he's maybe going to put in the best shift for Poland, and I mean, he's never really shone at your international tournaments. I mean, that obviously isn't completely on him, but it does matter at the end of the day when you get to Ballon d'Or and things like that. And yeah, performances like that from him and the team aren't going to help his cause.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, moving on to the last game of that group, Spain played Sweden. I watched the whole thing, and honestly, what a snore fest. Seriously, I mean, Spain broke the record for possession, passes completed, passes attempted, and they just could not break down Sweden. The best chance of the game, you can argue it might have fallen to Moreno, but I'll say it fell to Morata. I think that,
Or is like at the other end?
yeah, but I'm talking
I'd
about for
suggest.
Spain, because Spain dominated
Oh, yeah.
so much that honestly, it was just Morata. If he took that away, Spain take the lead, then Sweden have to push forward. Spain can break them down easier. I thought Spain, at least in possession, looked good, but they didn't have that finishing touch, which is a bit of a problem for the Spaniards, if you ask me. Did you watch the game, guys?
I mean, I did see something on Twitter which I actually agree with. It compared how Spain played to how we used to play under Van Gaal, especially in 15-16. And I just remember because we loved having the ball. But we never did anything with it at all.
Yeah.
Like when we came fifth in Van Gaal's last season. I think we went something like 9 games or something without scoring. It was something ridiculous. We had a lot of 0-0s in a row, and it just never felt like we were going to score. And I suppose in that sense, I can empathize with how Spanish fans were feeling, because apart from those 2 chances, it just didn't really look like they were ever going to fully break Sweden open.
Sweden defended well, to be fair, Kian. Would you agree?
Yeah, I thought the way Spain played, it's promising. I feel like Spain with a player like 2007 Fernando Torres or David Villa in his prime could easily win this tournament, especially the way they played that game. They controlled the game. They were pulling strings. They were pulling Sweden apart, just not in the defense, where they need some of that bit of magic, that bit of spark to just finish it off. I think if they have that, they'd be my favourites even over France.
I mean,
especially the way they played.
I feel like Gerard Moreno could be that player, and I think he needs to get the start,
especially with the season he's just had.
I think he needs to get
I'd
the
even
start
argue
in that next
Diego
game.
Diego Costa from a couple of years ago, just bullying defenses, something like that would have enhanced them 10 times.
Character up front. That's what they need.
I think Sweden definitely need to be given their credit defensively. And moving on from that, Sweden are playing Slovakia in Russia, St. Petersburg. I think that's going to be a good game of football. Obviously, Slovakia proved they got a bit of something about them. Sweden, very solid defensively. You know what? I think Isaac's going to get on the score sheet this time round. But I'm going to predict a 2-2 draw between these two, setting up for a very interesting last game, Sweden versus Poland, in the last game of the group. because obviously that will leave. Because obviously I'll give my prediction for Spain, Poland in a second, but that will leave it quite open-ended. It'll put Slovakia in a very good spot to go through with the draw, but the rest of it,
I think 4 points would guarantee passage either in second or third.
it definitely would. But I can see that group ending up quite interesting. I'll talk about them more when I do my Spain Poland prediction. But yeah, Kian, you go Sweden versus Slovakia. What's your take on that?
I think Isaac can shine. I think the way he's played well this season, if I'm not mistaken, he's quite fiery. He's a big lad, but he's got a bit of, do you know what I mean, a bit of spark to him. I think if he comes good, then I think they'll win the game. Personally, I couldn't tell you the score. I can't read the score at all.
When we played Sociedad, I remember Harry Maguire kept him quiet. Seriously, he does seem like a very well-rounded, if still quite raw striker, I guess.
He's only young, isn't he? He won the
Player of the Year. I just wish
at
the other end, I just wish Lindelof could show that kind of cool-headedness every week at club level instead of getting muscled off the ball by 15-year-olds or people with the strength of a 15-year-old. But Sweden, Slovakia. I think I'll back Sweden for a 2-1. It's a bit boring, but yeah.
Well, okay.
2-1 Sweden.
Okay, Spain, Poland, La Cartuja Stadium in Seville. I think that Spain are winning this, which will end up with my predictions going normally. Spain will be on 4 points, Sweden will be on 2, Slovakia will be on 4, and Poland will be on 0. Which will leave it to the point at which I'm going to really quickly say I'm going to say 2-1 to Spain. I think that it's going to be a drawn out game. I think Lewandowski will score. I think he'll take advantage of Spain's inexperience in defence. Obviously, their centre backs are quite young. I know Laporte's experienced, but whoever's next to him doesn't have the most experience. Pau Torres played there, and I think he'll probably do so again. But I think that Spain will pull through, setting up Sweden versus Poland for third in the group. And obviously, Slovakia will probably be safe with 4. Spain will probably be safe with 4. But it'll be a really interesting game. Any of them can win the group going into the last stage, in my opinion. Spain, Poland. Kian, do you see it going the same way, or do you have a different take?
I see it a 1-0 win to Spain. I feel like they still struggle with the finishing touch. But the way they hold that ball, I just don't see Poland making many chances at all.
Yeah.
Especially against Slovakia. I just feel like Spain will control the game and they'll come out of a 1-0 win, I think.
Okay.
Couldn't tell you the scorer again.
Poland struggled enough in a game against, no disrespect to Slovakia, but they're no Spain. They're not even close. And
they're the lesser side in the group.
Luis Enrique, he's a very capable coach. He's up there with the other coaches at the Euros, and I mean, who knows if Murat, we already know Murat's not doing it. Let's be honest. Saw that in the warm-ups as well. Can't finish his dinner. If Gerard Moreno's not doing it, who knows? We could see a throwback to 2012 Spain if he wants to start experimenting with a false 9. But yeah, I don't see Spain not winning this game. I think just a 2-0.
I think Ferran Torres could be a good source of goals. Okay, we're moving on to the final group before we discuss England and the predictions for Group D. Well, obviously they were today. The matches were today, and it started off Portugal. In the end, a comfortable win against Hungary. Kian, what did you make of that?
Well, I had my bet on the ropes up to the 80th, 84th minute. I was a bit worried. Portugal, they dominated the game. They did dominate the game. Hungary had their chances, and really, they took one of them. Offside, definitely an offside.
Scary times.
But the scoreline's deceiving. It was the same old Portugal. Do you know what I mean? It's a highly rated squad, but there's no chemistry within the squad. You saw it with Diogo Jota. He could have squared it straight to Fernandes. It gives me that gave me the vibes. Yeah, that gave me the vibes of England in the noughties when we had Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes. Do you know what I mean? That players like that, they were playing for rivals. It seemed like he didn't want to give them the ball, and they just weren't blending. And that was our problem back in the day, and that seems like it's going to be Portugal's problem. Ronaldo wants to be the star. He wants the chances. Jota doesn't want to give it to rivals like Fernandes. Fernandes, again, like Ronaldo, wants to be the star, has a bit of an attitude, chip on his shoulder. So it's not a bad thing.
I wouldn't necessarily say that happened today. I don't know. I think you've got to give some of the blame to Fernando Santos, or sorry, Fernand Sanch as well for his setup. I think that pivot he started, what was it? William Carvalho, Danilo Pereira. That isolates the front four, in my opinion, because they're both midfield enforcers. You haven't got, because Renato Sanchez came off the bench in the 75th, 80th minute,
Yeah.
and immediately changed it, especially with the second goal. What was the second goal? You
Yeah,
saw
when
how
he
quickly he changed
spun
the
his
game,
man,
and
yeah.
it's just like someone like that, someone to progress the ball, get it, just transition it from defense to attack is so crucial in that team.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you've got your defensive block, but because Danilo Pereira, William Carvalho, yes, they do a job, they get the ball back, but after that, they just leave it to the front four essentially, and it almost creates two different sets of players as opposed to a whole unit.
Yeah, well, I think Diogo Jota was poor today, and I think that when Rafa came on, made a massive difference. I'm pretty sure he got minimum. I think he won the penalty. Definitely played the 1-2 with Cristiano Ronaldo for the third goal, which, by the way, was magnificent.
The first as well, I think.
It was a magnificent bit of football. I have to say, Cristiano Ronaldo showing why he's one of the best players of all time, if not the best. I thought that Portugal were pretty impressive once they got flowing, but they got flowing late. So next time against one of the better teams in their group, they'll need to do something. Obviously, they probably got the points now to send them through to the knockout stage. But obviously, the big game, probably the biggest game of the whole tournament so far, France versus Germany.
Fixture.
It was a good game, Felix. I enjoyed watching it. I'm sure you all enjoyed watching it. I'll tell you right now that Kylian Mbappe, if he can stay on side, he's fucking dangerous. I'm sorry for swearing, but he's just so good that I have to whip one F-bomb out, because Kylian Mbappe, I know he was offside for a couple, but his pace is just, no one wants to play against France. Their goal came, I can't even remember their goal, to be honest with you. It was an own goal from Mats Hummels, which is underwhelming.
I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but Pogba put in a brilliant performance, and I did allude to that last week. He is always exceptional for France, and
he's a different animal. For France.
He bossed the pitch today. There were a couple of nerve moments for France, especially towards the end of the game. But
yeah, for sure.
I think it was. Because it was quite a deserved win.
It was quite a professional performance.
It was very close, but
good game management. I felt like.
Yeah, they didn't need to. They didn't need to push their issue. They had the lead. They could hit them on the counter attack. Obviously, Mbappe's disallowed goal. Oh my lord, that was beautiful.
It was well on as well.
That wasn't the same goal, mate. Anyway, moving on to predictions for this group.
Cheers, Will. Thanks for.
I thought you said. I swear you gave your opinion. Go on then.
Nope. That's fine. Carry on.
I thought you literally said it, whatever. Anyway, France are playing Hungary next. I don't think we need to really talk about that very much. I'm going to say 4-0. I think they'll blow them out the water. What do you guys think? Quickly.
I don't think they'll have to get out of the first, second gear for that.
Nah, I agree. Kian?
I think we'll see a Kylian Mbappe.
It was very back to the wall today for Hungary. They got their off goal, but yeah.
I just think France have way too much. I don't think it's even a conversation. Personally, I might be made to look stupid. It might get clipped, but we're 40 minutes into the podcast, so I'm going to say it. I just don't think Hungary have anything.
No disrespect,
I know
Hungary.
The problem with me saying that is, yes, I said last podcast, Germany are going out, Hungary are going through, but I think Germany will lose to Portugal, and I think Hungary will lose to France. Get a bit of fire up their arse, pardon me. And beat Germany. I think Germany will go out on 0 points. I'm saying it now.
Okay.
They played well, but I think they're going out on 0 points.
No disrespect to Hungary, but I think Group F second place definitely will come down to who can put the most or the least past Hungary. It will be, because especially if say Portugal was to draw with Germany, let's say, it will come down to can you be ruthless against Hungary? Or are you just going to take a 2-0 or something, not get out second gear?
Well, speaking of Portugal, Germany, who's winning that one? I think that it's going to be a good game of football. I'm going to say 3-2 to Portugal. Cristiano Ronaldo will score a goal. I think Bruno Fernandes, or of course he's better known Bruno Fernandes, I think he will be phenomenal. I think he'll open his account. I think that He'll show why he's one of the best players in the world at the moment, and Portugal will pull through with the 3-2 win, putting them on 6 points. They'll be joining France on 6 points going into the crucial head-to-head in the last game. What do you think is going to happen in Munich?
I think I'm leaning towards a draw, to be honest. Maybe a 2-2 or something, because I think, Keane, you said it last time. Maybe Germany are just maybe taking it a bit easier and low anyways, taking it a bit easier maybe. I don't necessarily subscribe to that, because they got to the semis of the Euros in 2016, and he's had 3 Euros with them, got to the semis at least each time. I think he will have that desire to win it in his farewell tournament. I don't think it'll be just one of those like, oh, just see out the tournament, eat payday and be off. And
I'm going to say that, but my point to that is they weren't necessarily the most impressive at 2016 Euros. They weren't like a standout team at all. And then they went into the World Cup, which I'm sure not many Germany fans want to hear about. But they didn't set the world alight there either, did they? I feel like they've fizzled out. And I will
doing a bit of a David Marshall against South Korea.
I feel like they showed promise today, though. They did show. Yeah. They didn't play badly at all. They played better than I thought, and they put up a much bigger fight than I thought. But moving, unless do you want to carry on with your prediction, Rel, and then I'll go on to mine?
I said 2-2, I think. Maybe a 1. I don't. I could be wrong. Again, might be bias creeping into it. But yeah, I don't think Germany will go into their game against Hungary with 0 points.
Okay. Makes sense.
I have to go with a 3-1 win for Portugal. I think Renato Sanchez has to start. He has to. The way he come on and dictated the game, he dictated that entire midfield. He got on the ball and no one was taking that ball off him. You could see it in his face. Like he wanted it. And he was so strong, fast, getting forward and back, making things happen from the get-go. I feel like he's an asset to them. He's a huge, huge asset.
So much
he's won the league.
How they set up.
It does. I just don't see. I feel like their midfield's too conservative. They sit back, they hold the midfield, but they need someone to push the ball up. They've got such good quality up front. That Renato Sanchez moving the ball onto them is just. It's a cheat code, in my opinion. Okay. I think if they play him, comfortable win for Portugal.
Now, moving on to the country that I think most of the viewers care about, the Three Lions. England opened up their tournament, 1-0 win at Wembley. Me and Felix were there. What a day out it was. It was a phenomenal. It was really quite a fantastic day out. The atmosphere was brilliant. I thought that we played very well. Calvin Phillips, I'll tell you right now, put in a display to be absolutely proud of. And I think
robbed of the Man of the Match award.
We got the BT one at the end of the day, and I think that's the England fan vote. So that's the one that really matters. I'm sure he'll be delighted with that. I thought we were great. I thought we defended well. I thought Phillips was great. I thought maybe Phil Foden underwhelmed, like I said I thought he would. I thought that Sterling was all right. He scored his goal, but I think Grealish still is the better option. I thought we were good overall. Felix, you were there with me.
Southgate got a lot of stick for some of his selections, but Trippier didn't set the world alight, but he was functional. Is that the word? I guess.
Yeah, he was good.
He did the job. He did, and
Mings was good.
Phillips was phenomenal. Obviously, I don't know. I think Kane's a weird one, because obviously he dragged the defender away for Sterling's goal, but maybe a bit. He was quite subdued. And I guess some people could maybe question because of that how much his playmaking, his assists at Spurs are down to the quality of other players. Obviously, he's got brilliant creative qualities, but that's up for debate. Maybe a bit of a spicy one, but we did. Yeah. Croatia never really threatened at all. They had, I think, one half chance, snapshot, edge of the box. Pickford gathered it quite comfortably. But never really worried.
Watched it with Felix. I kind of knew what he was going to say. Keane, what did you make of the game?
I'm going to start by saying Sky Sports on that day, they got it bang on. I feel like really the fan opinion, the fans were spot on, can I just say. And I've got to give props to them. They got the right people at the right time.
There were some good-looking guys on there, I have to admit.
I wouldn't go that far, but they had ball knowledge.
Guy.
But go.
Whoa.
Going on to the actual game,
The
I felt
important
like
bit.
the way we started the first 10 until the Foden shot, we looked like no one's beaten us. Like we were on top of them, really strong. We slowed down a bit, but we maintained the game. We stayed dominant. I feel like we controlled the game quite well. Croatia didn't have too many moments. I felt like we controlled the game. The Sterling goal, though, could have easily been a save. Like that wasn't a good finish. Like that was all the play. We could have easily come out of that with a 0-0 in the end of that. And I feel like as much as our performance deserved the win, it's a hot take. With the finish and stuff, we were quite lucky to get a win with that finish because we were quite quiet going forward, really.
What I will say about Sterling is that apart from the goal, which, as you just mentioned, it was it wasn't the most convincing finish. I think generally his performance in itself doesn't necessarily justify his selection because there were a few sloppy passes later on. Rashford could have been in if he showed a bit more care in them, and then even his defensive work, he could have done a bit more to close a few of the passes down, just stop a few attacks before they really got going. As much as they didn't necessarily threaten our goal, it would have been nice to just been a bit more secure in the win.
For sure. Okay, well, now that we've discussed England, we can move on to the predictions. So, obviously, Czech Republic versus Croatia. I think that's going to be a good game of football. Obviously, Czech Republic have got their 3 points now. They're looking slightly like they might cause a bit of an upset. Obviously, I think Scotland are going to end the group on 0 points because they're crap. But I think that Croatia weren't as good as I thought they'd be against England. I thought they'd create a little bit more. Calvin Phillips, Yorkshire Pirlo, kept Luka Modric quiet. I think that they'll do a little bit more against Croatia, against Czech Republic, because they don't have the great Czech Republic don't have the same level of player as England. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a 1-0 win for the Czech Republic. I think they're going to surprise everyone, and Croatia are going to be looking a little bit risky going into the game against Scotland, but they don't have to worry about that one. What do you guys think?
In fairness, Modric. I've seen a bit of Modric slander online since the England game, and I wouldn't say that was warranted. I think he played quite well.
He was their best player.
I think they've still got that ability in midfield to control games against maybe opposition such as the Czech Republic, and I think Croatia can grab a 1 or 2-0 win here. Maybe a Ivan Perisic goal or something like that. Goal or two.
I agree. I feel like we'll see I'm not even going to say we'll see a different Czech Republic because I wasn't impressed with Czech Republic in the first game against Scotland. It was a very boring game. I don't think Schick's going to get on the score sheet. I just don't think. I think he'll have a quiet tournament from here on out. I think he'll live off that goal, really. I think we've got to remember, I think it's hard to see when we're playing, but no one wants to really play England, right? Croatia just played their hardest game. We'll see a different Croatia team that are more motivated. I think they knew that was their hardest game. They're going to play Czech Republic. They'll feel confident. They didn't play badly against us. Do you know what I mean? They didn't get blown out of the water. Their midfield is strong. They've got some good young players coming through as well. They say it's an Asian team, but can't remember his name. They had a 19-year-old on. Do either of you remember Croatia's 19-year-old's name? He was coming up. We'll move on from it anyway. Guardiola, I think his name was. Yeah, Guardiola, because they were saying, he gets referred to as Guardiola. That's right. He played quite well. He went down a lot, though. Like, he was quite weak on the ball. But, yeah, I just think we'll see a different Croatia team to the first game. I feel like they will win 2-0.
I think what's particularly impressive about that England performance and how, I guess, disciplined it was is while Croatia, off the top of my head, they had, I guess, Rakitic out. I can't really think of too many other big names that missed out of them, whereas we had obviously quite a few players not starting, the Rashfords, the Sanchos, the Grealish even. Well, not even.
Obviously, being at the game,
but then you've still got in defence.
The commentators did allude to it, that they had a weakened team.
I think
the commentators said that they had a weakened team. They said they did mention, like, we were obviously not playing our strongest team with Sancho and players like that being out, but they did say that they had a weaker team.
I think especially our defensive, the defensive part of our team was quite makeshift almost, because we're seeing Harry Maguire. Obviously, I don't think a huge amount of people would have been impressed by Southgate's choice, regardless how it turned out, to start Trippier instead of Shaw or even Chilwell. Was Chilwell injured? I'm not sure. And then obviously you've got Henderson only really coming back to full fitness recently. So I think it was just quite impressive how professional our performance was, considering we were a good number of players away from what I think many people would see as the strongest lineup.
Well, I certainly enjoyed it. England versus Scotland. I'll kick us off. I don't see England losing this game. Scotland aren't good enough. They're a sad excuse for a football team, and we're going to beat them 5-0. I think that Gareth is going to switch up the lineup. I think we're going to see Jack Grealish get some minutes, and I think he's going to, for lack of a better word, tear Scotland a new one. I think they're going to learn what good football actually looks like, and it's going to be in a white shirt, unless Scotland are wearing their away kit, in which case it'll be in a blue shirt. It's irrelevant, but not a Scottish blue shirt. An English shirt is what I'm trying to say. Jack Grealish is going to put on a momentous display. Harry Kane's going to open his account. I think that Gareth is going to give Bukayo Saka some minutes off the bench. He'll score his first major competition goal. If he doesn't play, so be it. But if he plays, he's scoring. I'll put my something on the line. I'll put my hair on the line. I'm not putting my
Blonde hair if you don't win 3-0.
Nah,
£2.
my hair's already on the line for if we lose the game.
£2.
I'll give away £5 if Saka plays and doesn't score. There you go. You heard it first. Not to you, Felix. Anyway, Felix, unfortunately, your man Mason Greenwood's not in the tournament. But what do you think England are going to do against Scotland?
It's nice that you're thinking of him, but yeah, Grealish has to start. I think you've got to give Sancho again. He wasn't even in the squad for undisclosed reasons. Let's just say I've got my hopes as to what those reasons were, but we'll see. But yeah, I think Sancho's got to get minutes. I think there's a good chance Rashford could start. We'll put out a strong lineup. Just we don't often do brilliantly against the other home nations, especially in major tournaments. Struggle past Wales, obviously, and in the qualifiers a couple of years ago, didn't have the easiest time against Scotland. But I can't see past a comfortable England win 2 or 3-0.
Yeah.
If
Ian?
Croatia didn't cause us many problems in defence, so I don't know if I can see Scotland doing the same.
I'm going to go in a different route based on previous fixtures with them. I'm going to go for a boring 1-1 draw. I just think it's something about playing Scotland. It's the oldest international rivalry. It's a big game. I just feel like we're not going to bring out everything. I think the pressure will get to us a little bit. Going for a 1-1 draw, I think the Scotland fans will live off it for the next 40 years because they're really bad, in nicest words.
Okay, well, I think that just about wraps us up. England, it's coming home, boys. I'm not going to lie to you. And if you don't think it's coming home, make sure to leave a comment telling me why it's not coming home, and then I'll reply to you telling you why it definitely is. So,
all the Celtic and Rangers fans incoming now.
Well, I mean, do they?
The Irish fans are going to get loud from their armchairs now.
Yeah,
Paddy Murphy is Tyson.
Do they even exist?
I know you're watching this.
Anyway,
I know you're watching this, Paddy.
Paddy Murphy not watching this. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Let me know if you want to see any different guests on the show next week. Not because I don't like these guys, but sometimes you need a couple of different opinions. I'll be here, and that's all you need. Anyway, thank you for watching. This has been Rogscast episode 2. Like, subscribe, share to your friends, share to your mum, share to your dad, share to your dog. Get out there. The Rogscast is up and coming, boys. See you later.